and I was attacked. I need to get back home. I'm trying to get back home, man.
Welcome, Homeless Life Stories.
132,000 people. That's how many sleep in shelters across New York every single night in 2025. And if we count those on the streets, the real number could exceed 350,000. A city that never sleeps yet lets hundreds of thousands drift through restless dreams beneath cold winds and streetlights. The poor will always be with you. That verse echoes through Manhattan's glittering avenues, a reminder amid prosperity that no matter how far the world advances, there are still souls left behind. New York still dazzles, Times Square ablaze with light, Hudson Yards scraping the clouds, subway trains humming with endless motion. But somewhere beneath those tunnels sits Clara, age 70, once a seamstress, now curled up near Penn Station. Each night she whispers, "At least there's still light here." That light, fragile yet unyielding, is what Homeless Life Stories seeks to illuminate. Because behind every number lies a story of loss, of hope, and of the faith that every soul deserves a place to return to. 1. The scale of the crisis. In 2025, New York still leads the nation in homelessness, with over 350,000 people lacking stable housing. Of these, 132,000 sleep in shelters nightly, and roughly 4,000 live inside the subway system, where trains keep running but never take them anywhere. City officials proudly note that over 3,500 individuals, including 1,000 formerly living in the subways, have transitioned into permanent housing. They call it a step forward in compassion. Yet on the streets near Penn Station, Madison Avenue, and Harlem, thousands like Clara, once a bridal seamstress, now huddle beneath thin, worn blankets. Clara wakes early every morning to avoid police patrols. "I used to sew wedding gowns," she says softly. "Now I just stitch the torn seams of my own life." Her voice is gentle, but her eyes still hold pride, the kind no one can take, even after everything else is gone. New York has added hundreds of safe haven beds and expanded housing-first centers, focusing on long-term stability over short-term rescue. But the gap between policy and reality is as deep as the tunnels where Clara sleeps. Above ground, Manhattan's lights blaze bright. Below, thousands struggle just to make it through the night. They don't need pity, they need understanding. A hand reaching out to remind them that dignity never disappears. Homeless Life Stories tells their stories not to evoke sympathy, but to awaken compassion. Because a city is only truly great when it cares for those who have the least. And at the very heart of this crisis, where light meets shadow, lies Manhattan, the epicenter of struggle. Two, Manhattan, the epicenter of struggle. Manhattan, the glittering heart of New York, where skyscrapers cast long shadows over invisible lives. Beneath the neon blaze of Times Square, over 70,000 people fight each night for a place to sleep. On West 39th Street, near Penn Station, or around Bryant Park, Rows of makeshift tents line the streets like scars on a city that never rests. One winter morning, James, 56, sat outside the building he once helped construct as a laborer. Now he huddles beneath its marble overhang, watching hurried footsteps pass by. "I used to work on the 80th floor," he murmurs, eyes tracing the tower's glass facade. "Now I just want a quiet spot below ground." The city has increased overnight subway patrols from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. to discourage people from sleeping on trains. But for James, safety doesn't mean home. Each night he hears the distant screech of trains, echoes of a past life with purpose and a name. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. If mercy is what keeps humanity alive, then Manhattan needs it now more than ever. Because amid its wealth and dazzle lie forgotten souls, not poor by choice but abandoned by circumstance. And as we step out of Manhattan's shadows, we see the larger picture where living costs, rent, and despair are crushing an entire city. The crushing cost of living when rent itself becomes the chain that strangles dreams. Three, the crushing cost of living. Living in New York has never been easy, but in 2025, it has become a fight for survival. A one-bedroom apartment now costs an average of $4,200 per month, while 40% of residents spend more than half their income on rent. Even those with steady jobs struggle, trapped between housing, medical bills, and ever-rising food prices. Sarah, 82, a retired Bronx librarian, spent 40 years surrounded by books. When her rent increased by $400 a month, she was forced to leave the apartment she'd called home for over 2 decades. Now she lives in a small shelter where beds are divided only by thin curtains. "I used to read people's stories about hope," she says. "Now I live in my own story, one where hope itself needs faith to survive." It's not a complaint. It's reality. When the average cost of living hits $4,500 per month per person, a single setback, a lost job, an illness, a divorce can push anyone off balance.
God bless you guys.
One missed rent payment, one unpaid medical bill, and homelessness stops being a distant idea. The city is experimenting with new programs, expanding supportive housing for those leaving incarceration, improving reintegration, and reducing the risk of returning to homelessness. It's a small but genuine light in a bleak landscape. But to keep that light burning, New York needs more than budgets. It needs empathy, understanding, and a community that refuses to turn its back. As Scripture reminds us, anyone who has 2 coats should share with the one who has none, and anyone who has food should do the same. Luke 3:11.
Okay. Yeah, good. Very hard.
A city only truly lives when compassion still breathes within it. And that's the lesson we see next to City Stretched Thin, where New York struggles to open its arms even as its limits tighten. 4. A city stretched thin. New York, the city that never sleeps but too many lie awake each night. Over 700 shelters operate across its boroughs, yet nearly all are at capacity. Every evening, thousands are turned away because there are simply no beds left. In 2025, the city was forced to close more than 50 temporary shelters, including the Roosevelt Hotel, which once housed thousands of migrants and unhoused residents. Officials claimed they were reallocating resources for long-term residents, but for many, that decision felt like an unspoken sentence. On late-night trains through Brooklyn, hundreds curl up on stiff seats, bags at their feet, eyes closed but unable to rest. At least it's warm here, one man whispered. In that fleeting moment, the subway became home fragile, yet heartbreakingly real. Community centers in the Bronx and Queens still fight to keep up, serving 10,000 meals a month, handing out coats, offering free counseling. Yet the city's homeless services budget stands at just $1.2 billion less than its tourism advertising budget. A stark paradox: the city markets its splendor to the world while its own people search for shelter. Amid the rush of Fifth Avenue, you might see a woman bend down to hand a stranger a cup of hot coffee. A small gesture, but in this city, sometimes that's a miracle. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. Matthew 25:35. Perhaps the only way for a city not to lose its soul is to relearn what it means to be human through compassion. The fragile middle class the group once thought unshakable, now swaying under the weight of rising costs and quiet fear. 5. The fragile middle class. Amid Manhattan's rising tower stands a group once considered New York's pride, the middle class. They believed that as long as they worked hard, they'd never sleep on the street. But in 2025, that belief is cracking. 45% of the city's workforce belongs to the middle class, yet in the past decade, more than 20% have fallen into the low-income bracket. Many still go to work each day, clutching a morning coffee, but at night they crash on a friend's couch, in budget motels, or inside their cars. They're called the hidden homeless. Michael, 42, is one of them. Once a cook at a small Italian restaurant in Brooklyn, he had a family, an apartment, and a modest dream to open his own diner. When the pandemic passed, the restaurant never reopened. He picked up shifts in a community kitchen, but the pay covered only half the rent. By the third month, he was out. I didn't lose my home in one day, Michael says. It left me bit by bit, night after night. Yet even in that darkness, a small light appeared. In the Bronx, a new 328-unit mixed housing project, complete with a community clinic, is nearing completion. It offers families like Michael's both housing and access to healthcare and job training. It's not a miracle, but it's a beginning, proof that there is still a way to bring people back to where they belong. But with rents hovering between $4,000 and $5,000 a month, even stability has become a luxury. Beneath the glimmer of Fifth Avenue, those who once thought they were safe now whisper the same question: am I next? The lights still shine, but behind closed apartment doors are quiet sighs of those struggling to keep their middle-class identity alive. They don't need pity, they need a chance to stand again. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due time we will reap if we do not give up. Perhaps the city still holds hope if each of us guards the seed of compassion. And as the middle class trembles, thousands of newcomers arrive, searching for shelter. But does the city still have room for them? The challenge of new arrivals, where the line between hope and despair is as thin as a closed door. Six, the challenge of new arrivals. Over the past 2 years, New York has received more than 175,000 migrants and asylum seekers, people who left home carrying nothing but hope. But as temporary shelters close and budgets tighten, that hope fades. In 2025, migrant numbers dropped sharply, leading the city to close over 50 emergency shelters, including the Roosevelt Hotel, once home to 1,000 people. On paper, it freed resources for long-term residents. In reality, the remaining newcomers are trapped in a loop: no work, no documents, no home. A city once hailed as the gateway to the American dream now feels like the harbor of broken ones. Meet Rafael, 29, from Venezuela, an electrician who arrived with his wife and baby, believing in a new start. Today they live in a Queens shelter, sharing one room with 3 other families. I thought America was heaven, he says. But heaven doesn't have an address for people like us. Each morning he searches for work, but no one will hire him without a permit. Each night he soothes his child to sleep with stories about city lights, the same lights he's never touched. The injustice shows in the data. 45% of immigrants in New York lack stable employment. Over 60% rely entirely on food aid.
When this guy was headed to the bus, I threw him out. Yeah.
1/3 of immigrant children attend temporary emergency programs with no fixed address. Still, compassion surfaces. In Brooklyn, the New Neighbors Initiative offers free English classes, job training, and has helped nearly 300 immigrants find temporary work. In Harlem, the faith group Faith in Action hosts Sunday meals, where migrants, the homeless, and locals share a table. No one asks for papers only, are you hungry? Love your neighbor as yourself. In an overcrowded New York, it remains the simplest, yet hardest commandment to live by. As opportunity's doors close on newcomers, the city must ask, has the city that never sleeps closed its eyes to those who came here to dream? And if newcomers can't stand firm, what about those carrying deeper wounds, the invisible battles within the mind? The overlooked role of mental health, where we confront the darkest corner of the crisis, the human psyche. Seven, the overlooked role of mental health. When people discuss New York's homelessness crisis, they talk about rent, jobs, housing, but rarely about the mind. In 2025, 30% of the homeless suffer from severe mental illness, yet only 40% receive treatment. Those numbers aren't statistics, they're silent screams. Bellevue Hospital, once a pillar of public care, is now so overwhelmed that hundreds wait weeks for a first counseling session. Shelter programs can only skim the surface, dispense pills, log symptoms, move on. But when the root is despair, medicine alone won't heal. Lena, 46, a former nurse from the Bronx, tells a story that leaves listeners still. After her husband died in an accident, depression swallowed her. She lost her job, then her home, then herself. The worst part isn't hunger or cold, she says. It's when no one sees you anymore. Each night she walks around Union Square, collecting discarded flyers and folding them neatly, her way of piecing life back together. In March 2025, Mayor Eric Adams announced a $650 million five-year plan to expand safe haven beds and fund street mental health outreach. Groups like Fountain House and Care for the Mind now bring therapy and community recovery directly to shelters. Yet, in a city of 8.5 million, it's still a drop in an ocean of pain. Paradoxically, the more connected our world becomes, the lonelier people feel. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Perhaps true healing doesn't come from prescriptions, but from eye contact and an outstretched hand. Only when the city heals from within can it speak of hope. A city at a turning point where New York stands between denial and change. Eight, a city at a turning point. As rain slicks Manhattan streets, New York hums on. Cars glide, lights blaze, lives keep moving. Yet among the crowd, over 1.2 million rely on food assistance programs just to survive. In one of the richest cities on earth, hunger thrives beneath the glow of Times Square. And yet, amid contradiction, a breeze of change rises. New social housing projects are breaking ground in the Bronx, Harlem, and upstate New York, 20 to 30 units each, prioritized for homeless families and domestic violence survivors. They're not luxury towers, but small sanctuaries, giving hundreds their first true home in years. In Queens, FaithWorks New York and local churches are building a tiny home village for seniors once left behind. Each unit spans only 215 square feet, yet it overflows with dignity. Marion, 78, just moved in. I don't need much, she says, eyes glistening. Just a roof to thank God under every morning. Still, darkness lingers nearby. Hudson Yards and Times Square blaze bright, while only blocks away thousands curl beneath thin blankets by subway doors. Prosperity hasn't reached everyone, and one question echoes. Is New York healing or just hiding its wounds under the lights? Even so, something is shifting. Connections between faith, community, and action are returning. Hands now reach out instead of turning away. Eyes pause instead of passing by. Maybe New York is slowly relearning how to love, starting by seeing those it long ignored. But real healing needs more than policy, it needs heart. The power of community solutions where ordinary people are achieving what the system couldn't. Nine. The power of community solutions. Beneath New York's steel and neon, quiet miracles unfold every day, people saving people. While officials debate, communities act. In the Bronx, the Bowery Mission serves over 600,000 hot meals a year and provides thousands of job training hours. In Brooklyn, Rethink Food Make Food Nike partners with local chefs to turn surplus ingredients into 10,000 meals a week. These numbers aren't charity, they're proof the city still has a heart. In Queens, the Bridge the Gap initiative launched by Columbia University students links landlords willing to rent long-term to homeless tenants. In its first year, it placed 280 people into stable housing. In Harlem, St. Francis Hope Center hosts Friday community prayer nights, where the housed and unhoused meal together, no strangers, only neighbors. One elderly nun said, "God doesn't ask how much you did, only how much you loved." And maybe that is what's saving New York, not money, but mercy. These efforts can't replace policy, but they do what policy can't: rekindle faith in humanity. Every coat, every meal, every gentle glance says, you are not invisible. You are seen, known, and loved. In 2025, the city also opened Ace's Place, the first government-funded shelter for transgender and non-binary people, offering 150 beds, mental health care, and job support. It's a milestone, a recognition that every life deserves dignity. Perhaps that is the foundation of a kinder New York. A call to action where numbers, stories, and faith become a shared plea. No one should have to sleep under the cold sky. A call to action. As dawn spills gold over New York's skyline, the city wakes with two faces, one radiant, one scarred. Office workers rush through Times Square, while only steps away hundreds curl in thin blankets, waiting for the first ray of warmth. 350,000 people lack stable housing. 132,000 sleep in shelters each night. Those aren't statistics, they're 132,000 stories, 132,000 souls yearning to be seen. Among them are Clara, the 70-year-old seamstress near Penn Station, James, the builder now living beneath the towers he raised, and Sarah, the retired Bronx librarian who still reads her Bible each night seeking peace. They don't ask for pity, only a chance to begin again. The city is changing, new affordable housing, expanded mental health programs, and a rising tide of community care. But as long as even one person sleeps beneath a subway arch, New York has work left to do. A city is only great when it protects its most vulnerable. It's time not just to speak of compassion, but to act on it. A shared meal, a warm blanket, a vote for affordable housing policy. Small acts, yet each can spark a miracle. Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. James 2:17. Homeless Life Stories calls on each of us to be a light in this city to help rekindle hope amid the cold. Because none of us are truly safe while someone else still sleeps on the street. Like, comment, and share the story not for views, but to give visibility to those who've been forgotten. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. May New York and all of us learn to see one another through the eyes of mercy. May every home and every heart become a shelter of human kindness. Amen.
Quem pensaste que era, culero?